Let's get it.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Sister Lives, another wild and raucous Monday where we're going to try to dissect the foolishness that was on last night for those who could watch it last night, or for those who have caught the hell because TLC has dropped the bag. Those who watched the show today, we'll be talking about all the foolishness that we watched last night. If you guys can hear me, go ahead and hit that one in the chat so that way I can be sure that we're actually coming through loud and clear and you guys can catch what we're putting down.
Yeah.
Number 13. Welcome.
Oh, a bunch
13.
of ones.
Okay, awesomeness. Awesome. Because I gotta ask because I was just talking to Sarah backstage about some of the foolishness that's happening on StreamYard.
And a guy overtook my body for a second.
Yeah. For those who don't know, I'll share the story. Story time.
Woo, starting off hot.
Right off the bat. We were backstage, and as soon as I click in, everybody clicks in. I'm like, "Hey, Sarah, how you doing?" And all of a sudden, I hear a guy's voice. "I'm doing good. How are you?" And I'm like, "What the shit, Sarah? Is everything okay?"
Cody, I've been hitting the testosterone a little.
Right.
Maybe I've been ODing on the tea a little much.
Get the man moves. That's okay.
We'll get to it. I'm sure we'll touch
on
the date.
There's a few moments.
Yeah.
But just so everybody is aware, next week we're going to take off from Sister Lives so that way you guys can enjoy your holidays. We have some things going on, both of us, so we just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that we weren't going to be running next week on Monday. So
because there's no new episode. So
right.
Sister Wives is taking a break. We're going to take a break, and then we'll get back in the saddle right before we ring in the new year.
Right. So something to look forward to, If you were hoping to put, Sarah James under the Christmas tree, you can check out our videos because I know we'll be releasing videos that week.
Yeah, we'll have regular content on our channels. We're just gonna take 1 week off, because it just didn't really make sense to go back and start the vault recaps when we're in the middle of the season. So everyone's gonna enjoy their holidays,
right?
Free holidays, hopefully.
hopefully, no drama. That's what I'm going
you
for.
Hopefully, watch on our channels.
Right. The acceptable drama. That's what I call reality TV. That's acceptable drama. Like personal drama, not so much.
No,
I don't think that one.
Yes.
But speaking of the episode, what did you think? Did you watch it last night, or did you watch it? Okay, you watched it last night.
Yes.
What did you think about all those damn commercials? Is it me? Or was this episode, did it seem like it was like really commercial heavy?
Well, it was interesting. I don't know if it was this week or last week. So the way I watch now, I have Hulu live TV. Like I'm saving probably a grand total of $5, but I had YouTube TV and then I had the Hulu, Disney, ESPN bundle. And now I just put everything together because Hulu has a live TV option. So that's how I watch it. I didn't notice an exceptionally large amount of ads, but it's always interesting when I see a Sister Wives commercial during the Sister Wives episode. I'm like, we haven't even gotten there yet. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, where do you watch it where you saw a lot of?
I was on YouTube TV. Actually, I might have to make the jump. I might have to shop around because YouTube TV is talking about going up. So I don't know if I want to do that.
What is it like $70 something?
Yeah, they talking about going up to like 80. Like right now, I'm like at the precipice of like actually having cable. Like I don't have cable, so
I think
I've been without cable for a while.
With all of the because I'm telling you, I have Paramount Plus, I have Peacock, I have Max, I have Hulu, I have Netflix is $22 a month on its own. I think it would actually be cheaper for me to just have cable.
Right. At this point, yeah. Yeah, because it's starting to get ridiculous. It's just starting to get
It,
ridiculous. Plus, there's just so much content out there. You
and
know.
when, so I had, sorry guys, this is a tangent, but I had Hulu being billed through like my Apple ID. And one of the ways that they verify you if you call Hulu, because I had it signed up through Disney, I had to cancel and then resubscribe to get Hulu Live TV. It was just,
Mm.
I don't know, a clerical error on their part that they couldn't overcome. That's the way you overcome it. So I was trying to do that. And one of the ways they verify your account, they're like, what is your payment? How do you pay every month? And
Oh.
I was like, I don't even know. I was like, I think it comes out of my checking account, but I was like, I honestly couldn't tell you if it's like PayPal or whatever.
Right, right. You guys take it. I know you take it because I can still log on to it. Like I don't
Yeah,
know. It's just such a racket anymore. And especially like I said with like Discovery, they had the series. Now I'm old, like I guess I'm about to say I'm old school, but it's not really that old. But Discovery used to have it so with Sister Wives or 90 Day or whatever they had, was it £1,000 Sisters or whatever. When they aired, the day that they aired, you could get it and start watching it like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, the day of. So
mhm.
Sunday, when Sister Wives aired, you could watch it like earlier that day. You didn't have to wait till 9, 10 o'clock at
They
night to
have it
try to
so
watch the
good.
episode. Yeah. And now it's just like, oh, not only are we going to put it on a specific time, but we're going to put it on a channel where only a small population of the people who actually watch the show can actually see it if they're willing to pay this extra premium amount. And to be honest with you, if it but for the fact that I have a YouTube channel, I probably would be waiting for Discovery to air it or whatever. That's the
Same.
only reason I do it is because of the show.
Same.
Because
I
I'm
watch
committed to you guys.
Jeopardy and Sister Wives, and that's what
Right.
I watch on live TV.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. But
Yeah.
big shout out to Lizzie B, who's back from vacay. I
Yay,
see
welcome back.
living that wild life. Lizzie was out there living a life. She was doing her thing. She out
Nice.
there raising hell. So I'm glad to see her back and healthy. I keep Hulu, but I swap out for other services. So for a month or two to get caught up on shows, I have Netflix. Then I'll cancel it and have Paramount, etc. Yeah,
That's
Tracy
smart.
might be on to something.
I love
Yeah, but
everyone. The comment section right now is full of people giving their tips and tricks how they keep things cost effective, and I'm loving it.
yeah, it's crazy now. It's so crazy.
It really is.
But what did you think of this episode overall? Like aside from that, well, I had a crazy commercial situation, but
Yeah.
aside from all that, like when you looked at the episode, did you think it was like one of the banger episodes? Or do you think it was like moderate, or did you think it was just a cash for trash?
I I think that I don't know if I'm just really easy to please or if the bar is so low for me when it comes to Sister Wives. I'm just so glad that we aren't having camping chair conversations. Um
Mm,
I I was listening to all the Sister Wives podcast recappers. Everyone's joking around about the like how big of a deal was made about like the Tide to Go pen and all that. I thoroughly enjoyed the engagement party. It was so lovely to see Hunter and the kids and the family interact. You almost, for a second there, you almost forgot that it was Christine's engagement party because her getting married was hardly mentioned, but for then she did a confessional where she said, "Oh, David and I hardly know each other. We've been dating for 6 months." And I'm like, we just couldn't make it through one episode without her mentioning how little of an amount of time they've known each other.
right.
But I really enjoyed seeing the family. Janelle looks fantastic in pink. It was good to see her kind of maybe step out of her comfort zone a little bit and wear a bold color. She mentioned she usually wears like neutrals, and I thought that was lovely. What do you
Mhm.
think of the episode?
Well, I think that there are parts of it. The one thing that I'm a little concerned with Sister Wives as a whole, not just because of the episode, but just as a whole, is that they're playing it very safe. Like I feel like they're playing it very safe because, which I mean, to be honest with you, with Christine and her marriage, her new minted marriage, I think that they probably are smart for playing it safe. So for somebody who wants to see Christine win, it's smart that they're playing it safe and not revealing too much about the inner dynamics of their relationship because with too much scrutiny, that could destroy their relationship. So I get that. But from a viewer and a fan of the show, they're not really releasing a whole lot of information, or at least they're not really doing anything new as far as the episodes are concerned. Like they keep rehashing a lot of the same old problems, like whether it's Coyote Pass or the fact that, like you said, with David and Christine knowing each other for a very short amount of time and getting engaged. Cody and Robin, it's not my fault the family broke up, but I really want them back. But I love Robin so much, I can't be without her. I love her so
Yeah.
like that foolishness. And it's just basically what they're doing is they're basically reiterating the same problems that they've had the entire time. They're just saying it in different ways. And
Yeah,
so that
I'm glad that we took like a week off of talking about Coyote Pass. I don't even think that that was mentioned in the episode.
right.
I also really enjoyed what is this the gal with the glasses that lives in Vegas, the blonde. What's her name?
I forget. If somebody in the chat can
Yeah,
remember.
someone's gonna. So I really loved seeing the dynamic between Jen and this friend versus what was it, Andrea, and was it Hillary and Andrea from last week? So
Right.
those two friends are like from the AUB, grew up in polygamy, and it was a much more serious like deconstruction conversation. This was a lot more light and joking, like poking fun at her marriage and cheating
Hmm.
and blah blah blah. And I just found that very thank you everybody, Brandi.
Right.
I really found it interesting, just the difference in the dynamics of friend groups for Meri.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, because with Brandy and Jen, it felt more like friends. Like it did feel more like a friend. Like all of this, I understand and I get it. A lot of this is probably conversations that they've had previously, and they're just basically rehabbing those conversations for the cameras. I get that, but the way that they execute the conversations, I agree with you. That I think Brandy and Jen, they came off more of a friend group, whereas the other two ladies, that felt more like an interview. Like it felt
Or
like
like
they were
an
actually doing a podcast or
intervention.
something. Right.
Yeah.
Right. They were just like, well, what do you think about polygamy and polygamous marriage? I don't know anybody who's not happy. Like, yeah, I get that you want to have the bigger conversation, and I'm all for the bigger conversation. But if you're trying to console your friend about the loss of her relationship, talking about how other relationships fail too, and you don't know if those relationships actually work, isn't really where you would go with it. Like if you had a problem with if something going on in your life, you would want to talk about your problem. You don't want to talk about like, oh, I know 50 other people who have the same problem. Like, okay, I don't care. Like, I'm crying my tears. I feel my sadness. So
And it was interesting because I think Jen and Brandi are almost like speaking Meri's language, the language that's gonna get through to her, which is like kind of doing it in a joking manner. And
Mhm.
but also like Jen made a comment and I forgot to write it down, but it really struck me, like she like about how frustrated she's been like here
Right,
and that because she's not been able to say anything because Meri wouldn't leave. So what can she really say? But now Mary's left, so now Jen feels like she can be a little bit more open with her real feelings about Cody.
right. Well, because and I will say this, like I recognize that as a fan and somebody who's kind of on the outside, when we watch it, we're all like, somebody needs to sit Mary ass down and just read her the riot act and tell her what's what and where things are and how things are going to be and da 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 da. but that isn't necessarily what she needs because ultimately, when you're talking to a friend or you're really, giving good counsel to a friend or an associate or somebody that you care about, your first priority isn't to make sure that they're doing the right thing or things your way. Your first priority should be to make sure that your friend is okay. And I think that by doing that, maybe like, and I'm willing to admit this, maybe I'm a little rough on Jim. Like, you can either just tell her what it is and just rip the band aid off. But that might not necessarily be what Mary needs because Mary might not be in a position to be able to hear that good advice, especially if you're still kind of stuck on Cody. You're not ready to hear that Cody's an ass and he's using you and Robin isn't your friend. Like,
No,
you just
she's
aren't ready.
still saying stuff like we had a good time. We had a good run and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, no, you didn't. And like,
Right.
it
Like, you got played.
takes you aback that it's like she is in so deep. And it's
Right.
really I mean, honestly, it's no short of a miracle that she's even come as far as she has. So while it still makes me want to bang my head against the wall sometimes with the delulu of it all, but
Mhm.
I have to remind myself that Mary has come a long way from
Right. Right.
because I think had it not been for really the show and her being able to literally watch back things Cody has said about her, I think she would still be uh holding on because
Mhm.
she would see Cody maybe once or twice a year and he would say casual, vague, somewhat nice things to her that would give her hope to hang on for another 6 months till the next time she saw him. And it would keep going like that and she would keep funneling money. I was watching a video another YouTube creator posted about just how like shocking it was that here Mary knows that she is literally getting screwed on Coyote Pass with how the property is being divided. And she is still forking over an equal amount of money to pay it off.
Right. Right. Well, that's the price of admission, though. Like, that's the price of admission to the family for her to
Like you
continue to
have to,
participate.
and she is like cognizant of the fact that she has to equally pay it off, but it will be unequally divided to her.
Hmm. Right. Right. But if she doesn't, because I mean, like, I think that it was a good point. I think Brittany, not Brittany, made it. But it's also a good point. Maybe it was Negla, but it's also a good point that the whole time for the last what during COVID and all that other stuff, when Mary was calling out to the house, the whole time they've been in Arizona, Mary's been trying to reach out and talk to Robin the whole damn time. And the only time they invite Mary in the house and open arms and welcome to the house, Mary, come on in, have a seat, was when she came with a check. Because when she didn't have a check in her hand, her phone calls didn't get responded to. Her calls didn't get picked up. She wanted to see and hang out with the kids and she wanted to hang out with Robin, and all of a sudden everybody's busy. But when she has a check and they're about to pay off Coyote Pass, all of a sudden they got all the damn time in the world to sit there and talk to Mary. And I think that that's part of the problem. I also agree with something that Tiffany H has said. She said, Tiffany H, where you at? I can't find what you said. Um, just so rough shot it. Sorry, Tiffany H. I was going to post you up, but she essentially said that she didn't mind Mary's storyline, but she just wished that there was more of it and it was new parts of it, and we got past the part where Mary is hurt. I think that slowly, I agree with you on the fact that I think slowly but surely, Mary is starting to turn the corner
Mhm.
because there was a time when Mary never would have talked bad about Cody, and she certainly wouldn't have sat on the couch and let anybody else say something bad about Cody without defending him. Like, so this is really the first time that we actually heard Mary kind of let the bones fall where they may, as far as Cody was concerned. What did you have to say, or what did you think when Cody had responded to Brandi? Because Brandi was giving a lot of observations, the young lady with the glasses, and Cody came out with like, Brandi. She don't even know me. She don't know me. She gonna say something about me. She don't know me. I met Brandi once.
I kind of am living for this new, or maybe this isn't new, but I'm just now noticing it. But clearly, they are getting like real time reactions to. So clearly, Mary's couch confessional for this was filmed after Cody's because she's reacting to Cody's reaction to the clip, and she's like, Cody's lying. We hung out with Brandi and her husband. We've gone on double dates. Like Brandi knows Cody enough to be able to give her take on him as a person. And
Right.
it was that's happened numerous times this season, and I hope that this becomes a thing cuz I'm kind of living for it. the like
Right. Right.
does the immediate shutdown of like Cody will say something or Robin will say something, cut to Christine or Janelle or Meri being like, actually no. Like that's not how it went at all.
Not even close. But I also like the because Cody comes in with the denial of, and this is kind of where the truth comes in. Cody comes in with the denial of, oh, I never met her. I don't know her. I maybe met her once, maybe once, but she doesn't know me, so she can't comment on me. And then Meri comes right back and was like, we've known Brandi. We've gone out with Brandi and her husband several times on double dates. We've known Brandi since we moved to Las Vegas. We've known Brandi. So, you respectively, it's very possible, from my understanding of the chronology of things, that Meri knew Brandi before she knew Jen, because it's my understanding she didn't start hanging out with Jen, or Jen wasn't coming around until after they moved into the cul-de-sac, I believe. So
Mhm.
there's a possibility that Brandi was like the first friend she had. And the house that she lives in looks very much like the house that Meri was in, rented first.
It does.
You
It
know?
does. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was probably a neighbor. Like, I'm thinking she was probably a neighbor. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like, look, Cody, I get it, Cody. I get it. You don't want her to know you because you don't want her to have an opinion, especially an opinion you don't like, and
Well,
an opinion that you can't control.
yeah,
So yeah, you
and
pick.
let's take a step back and let's hear from what have the people who know you the best, right? That you trust, that are loyal, to have what have they said about you this season so far? Well,
Mm,
Brianna and Aurora say that you're really intense, and it seems like they're absolutely petrified of saying the wrong thing in these couch interviews, like they're gonna hear a whole heap of shit. I'm very unsettled by this whole asking permission to go to church. And when we get to the date, we'll talk on it, touch about it. Robin talks about his murder face. These are
right,
the people that you surround yourself with every day. And this is what they're saying about you. That you
right,
have a
right.
murder face and you're super intense.
Well, and but there's also that point too, where Cody is. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this. Cody is one of those guys who doesn't take responsibility for anything that he does, or anything that is a direct result of his actions, beliefs, or something that he put into motion, which is insanely infuriating. Like, I understand, like, watching it, this is for me part of the reason why I struggle with Cody's character on the show, because of the way that he's presented, and the fact that he doesn't take responsibility. Like, he'll do something and then he basically turns around and denies that he did it. It reminds me of this movie called Miller's Crossing. There's this gangster, and he's sitting there with his son, and his son says something, and he turns around and he slaps the crap out of his son, and his son starts crying. And no sooner than his son starts crying, he said, "What's wrong with you? When somebody slapped you or something?" That's what Cody reminds me of. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, he does something, he gets the result, it's an adverse result, and then all of a sudden it's like, I have nothing to do with it, and I'm gonna act like I have no clue what just happened when you're the one who did it. But I will say, did you catch Cody when he was talking about his daughters? And we'll talk about the daughters in a little bit. But when he was talking about his daughters, did you notice that when he said, when I had my older daughters, I was trying to be a king? and that got me pushed off. But with these daughters, I'm going to be a knight with a sword, and I'm going to be a protector. So he's taking a step back, and from that respect, I hate to say this as much as I hate to say it, but I'm happy to say it in a weird, crazy, perverted way. I'm happy to see that Cody is actually growing a little bit. For once, like from the entire season 1 to season 19, I've finally seen a little bit of growth out of Cody. What did you think about that?
Well, okay, since we're on that track, and we won't derail our recap too much with praise of Cody, so I'll keep mine. There was a segment and then it immediately cut to a commercial break, and then we were right back in the bullshit when we came back. But
Right, right.
when Cody was talking about, because James, you grew up Catholic, I grew up Lutheran. I found it very relatable when Cody was saying how he viewed everything. He started to view everything that church leaders were telling him with a skeptical eye, and he was comparing it directly to the scripture. Now,
Right.
there's some heavy caveats I have to add in here, because I don't know if he's referring to Book of Mormon as scripture or the Bible as scripture, but they're going to a non-denominational church now, so there's no Book of Mormon involved in that. When he was saying he wants his daughters to, he hopes that his kids just take it to scripture. Well, if you're talking about the Bible and then suggesting that your kids attend the LDS church, that comes with the Book of Mormon, which is
Mhm.
supplemental to scripture.
Right.
So, and whether or not you believe in that or whatever, but that is not just pure scripture. So I feel like Cody is such a walking contradiction, but just taking him purely at what he said there, I would want my kids to view religion the same thing, because I think people are fallible. I think I've seen it time and time again. I've seen people pervert religion in order to suit their agenda, and
Mhm.
they hide their I've seen them hide, homophobia, racism, all xenophobia, so many things behind religion. And it's like, if you take it to scripture and you read scripture tells us we are made in God's image, right?
Right.
Like, so in that sense, when I get meta about what Cody is saying, I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with this. But then I realize he's not a deep or evolved human being. He's very surface level, and I'm likely reading more into what Cody said than what he actually meant.
Right. Right.
That was a
That's
very
fair.
long-winded reply to your question, James. I apologize.
No, it's no worries. Because even on that point, like I'll give him credit because of the fact that I see people going crazy. Like, I don't give him no credit. He's a horrible person. I get that. I get that. The reason why, I'll give people, he had a mustard seed of evolution in this. I'm not saying that he's a changed or evolved person. I'm saying that it was nice to see that he has some acknowledgement of wrongdoing that he committed or perpetrated against another human being, which we have never seen on this show.
Yeah.
I've never seen Cody take any responsibility for anything that he did wrong. So, especially when it comes to those other kids. So, for me, it was nice that he took at least that minuscule step. Is he better? Has he fixed everything? Hell to the nizzle. But at least he took that small, minuscule step. I just see the difference. But I will say this with regard to the whole scripture, I'm going to sit there and as the preacher is giving his sermon, I'm going to be listening with my third ear and I'm going to have the scripture on my lap. And then I'm going to be checking for when he's right and when he's wrong. And if he says the wrong thing, here's what bothered me about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the arrogance of saying that you're going to know what's right and what's wrong. If you go to any church, if I go to a Baptist church, I understand that that pastor or that preacher who's standing on the pulpit delivering that sermon has at minimum a bachelor's level degree in theology.
Mm-hmm.
They've studied. They went to seminary school. They've studied the text. They studied the Bible, and they have some understanding. They may have understanding that I don't have. Now, what I would say is, if I hear something up on the pulpit, and I might have a feeling about it, I might disagree. Not necessarily disagree with it, but I might have questions with it. I might not feel right, and yeah, I might even disagree with it. But I'm not going to stand there and say that I'm going to be the absolute arbiter of what's right and what's wrong. That's a level of arrogance that kind of turns me off. Like, so instead with what you're saying about like where he is as far as like I'm holier than now and what text are you actually going to use, because I understand, like, at least from my understanding, my belief system, I think that everybody has to take their own walk and has have a personal relationship with whatever God that they have. And it's not up to me to know what your walk is going to look like, because our walks are going to be different because we're different people. So
We
when he sits there and says, I'm going to tell the preacher man that he got it all wrong, it might be wrong for you, but it might not be wrong for the young lady in the back who's listening to the sermon and needs to hear that message, or the young man who's over there and he's struggling with addiction, or the person over here that's struggling with the loss of a loved one or a family member. That might be the message they need to have. It might not be for you. And that's kind of the crazy, like we talk about like narcissism, self-centeredness. That's the crazy part about it, is that for him, anytime somebody says something, it's about him and directed at him. Sometimes they don't have nothing to do with you, you know?
well, what truly floored me in this episode was learning that the catalyst for Cody really turning away from the AUB was because they wanted him to cut his hair.
Right, right. And he said it twice. So it wasn't even like an offshoot thing. Like, yeah, by the way, you believe they asked me to cut my hair? It was like, yeah, they asked me to cut my hair. You believe these
Oh,
sons of
Noodles,
so
thank
and
you. Thank
so?
you. Yeah. I was like, wild, truly wild.
Right. These mothers asked me to cut my damn hair. The fifth wife, they wanted me to leave her, and I wasn't going to cut her. You know, it was crazy. It
Like,
was crazy.
nobody is telling you, hey, buddy, you're treating your wife and your wives and family like shit. You're not presenting uh our lifestyle in a positive light at all. Nobody, like, no, it's none of that, which I'm sure he was getting a fair amount of that. Um,
Mm,
but it's,
maybe, maybe
but
not.
we want you in a leadership position, and we can't really be having that with that mop top going on.
All
So
this going on.
let's tighten it up. And he was like, no, 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 no.
Right, right. Absolutely not. In fact, I'm going to abandon my religion and my faith because they want me to get a crew cut. But I will say this: like, I thought about it, and I was like, wow, that's jacked up that they would even ask him that. But then I thought about it, and I hate to say this, especially about a culty religion, but there is context to that. If you have somebody and you want them to learn to serve the people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
one of the seven deadly sins is pride. You know what I mean? And one of his things is his ego and his pride and his hair. And he puts that above everything else and everyone else. So one of the sacrifices they may ask him to make to show his divination is the fact that, like, hey, you know, we want you to cut your hair to show that you can let that go and put the people ahead of your personal, you know, how you dress yourself or how you style yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what he demonstrated to them is that he's unwilling to do that. I don't want to serve, because that's what it is. We want you to serve the church, the people. And he's basically saying, look, if I have to cut my hair, then I don't want to serve the people, because to me, my hair is more important than you people. And that would be the message that he would have. Essentially, that's what he told the church. My hair is more important than y'all. So helping the sick, helping the homeless, helping the downtrodden, screw you people, because I gotta fix this curl. I gotta get my curls locked in, you know.
And it's really interesting to me because and I noticed, and I don't know if you want to segue into talking about the date, but I have a lot of concerns about Robin. And honestly, the kids too, because I feel like Cody is a chicken with his head cut off, but also kind of just a manic tyrant. I feel like he pops off with very like definitive, intense statements about anything. And I feel like his family members are tiptoeing around him, not sure like what opinion is an okay opinion to have. To see Robin like stuttering and tripping over her words, I do that when I am very nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So to see her do that when she's talking to her husband on a date, that was unsettling to
Right,
witness.
right. Well, you know what? The weird part about it is I remember there was I think we talked about the cameo last week that I saw with Robin and Cody, and he came out was like, "Yeah, this is my beautiful shy wife," and I think he even said it during one of the episodes
Yeah.
last week. One of the things that folks do, and again, I don't have evidence to this. I'm not accusing Cody of anything. I'm just saying that in some situations and scenarios, you can have people who kind of pad the box by putting things in place that explain beforehand before something happens. So if she's nervous, like, because I've never equated Robin with being nervous or scared. I
Mhm.
never thought Robin was shy. In fact, early on in the first couple seasons, Robin was stepping over to other wives in areas where she had no idea what she was talking about. They were talking about when Cody, Meri, Janelle, and Christine first met and how they were living when they first got together. And Robin was throwing in her 2 cents. That's not the earmarks of somebody who's shy and scared. But now all of a sudden, like you said, when Cody goes out with Robin, she's all of a sudden stuttering and she doesn't talk and she's scared and she's resigned. That could be a flag. Like that would be a red flag that something more might be happening. Like homegirl might need some help. So I don't want to get too dark on the live, but that would make me start looking. If Robin was my friend and I noticed that about her, I would have concern.
Yeah.
Like I might pull her aside and be like, "What's going on? Why you acting weird? Are you okay? Is everything fine in the house? What's happening?
And
How you and Cody doing?"
the whole vibe of this plot line of the girls wanting to um attend church, and they're tiptoeing around Cody because he has such strong feelings about, it seems like, organized religion in general at the moment. And they're not, they want to do something and they don't want to like set him off. I find that
Mhm.
very unsettling.
Right, right. Well, because I think too, like especially one when it comes to like I understood where he was coming from because as he's talking about or discussing religion, like he's sitting there saying like I don't, oh I was thinking about taking him to the AUB, and he's looking at her like over the top of his eyebrows, which is always a bad time. That's like Kino evil dude in the movies, and he's like, when they were talking about going back to the AUB, and it occurs to me that, especially in light of what I had said last week about like how you can dismantle your daughters or young ladies, your kids really, but especially for fathers, their daughters, you can dismantle their self esteem
Yeah.
and their autonomy by being too on top of them and be always like giving them directions and telling them to follow orders and you're going to do what I say, you're going to submit. And when you teach your daughter to do that, and I'm just saying this, I guess maybe this is sexist, but I'm teaching this to my daughter, and I was very adamant about teaching this to my daughter because I didn't want her to be one of these people. When you teach your daughter to be submissive, because so many people are calling for that, especially on YouTube now with these young ladies, as a father, you teach her to be submissive only so you can turn her over to somebody who is going to tell her to do something, and that person may not have her best interests at heart.
Mhm.
So you always got to be thinking 2 moves ahead. If I teach her to follow orders, I have to know that when I'm not around, any man who steps into her atmosphere is going to be able to give her or issue her orders. And if you have a church, why I think Cody doesn't like organized religion, because by definition, if he joins a church, those people, those elders, those senior folks in the church would have authority even over him, and by he would lose not even a certain amount of control, he would lose all control over his daughters, especially if he joins a church or a religion like the AUB, where they well, I don't want to say they prey on these young ladies, but damn it, they prey on these young ladies. You
Well,
know what I mean?
James, you're
So,
not wrong, because the whole conversation about him not wanting Robin to people to think Robin's a single mom is because the way he grew up, or not even grew up, but like the AUB, which is the church he converted to, I absolutely think that any unmarried woman was vulnerable.
mhm.
I don't think that that's a wild statement to say.
Right, right. Well, how about this? Did you catch when Cody was saying, like, he was sitting there, he was talking about it, I want you to wear the ring, and then she pulls up her Christine clone ring, and
Yes, copycat.
right, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I said this last night, and I'll say it here tonight, and I will say it next week if necessary, or week after next if necessary, because we won't be here next week. But I would be, I would be insulted to the point of this could possibly end my relationship if I found out my wife was doing something for me because her ex was doing something, had received something, and she's trying to duplicate it or whatever. That I would lose my shit over that. Like, you don't compare us where I'm doing something where he gives his wife a ring and now you want me to give you the same damn ring. Like, we don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I give you what I want you to have, and he'll do his thing, I'll do my thing, and we'll keep that separate. And I'm sure that train goes both ways on the track, because if I did something like that, I'm sure she would lose her shit and have the same response to me. So that's completely ridiculous. But when
Mhm.
he stands there and says that, and they talk about how they met in the church, Cody doesn't realize that essentially he said that he stalked Robin's ass out in the church. That's what he admitted to. He said, when I saw you, I was like, who's that? And I was struck by you and I stared you in the face, not knowing whether she was married or not, according to him. He didn't know who she was. He thought that was somebody else's wife that he's deep staring in her face.
And notice, James, that he was concerned of possibly encroaching on another man's property. He was concerned she might be spoken for, she might be married. Not that he has 3 wives already
Right,
at home. And that maybe, but because in the AUB, men are and this is why I don't buy for a second that Cody is going to be content living monogamously with Robin, because he is trained that it is okay for him to have a wandering eye.
right, right,
When
right.
he got the lightning bolt, or whoever got the lightning bolt or whatever, it was he was free to act on it because that is what his religion told him was okay. He
Right,
didn't have
right.
to be concerned that he was going to be disrespecting or mistreating his 3 existing wives.
hmm hmm And the fact that you, and I say this, I say it again. The fact that you think that I'm gonna give her some hardware to wear to church. Oh, I'm gonna give her a big expensive ring, and that's gonna keep all the guys away. Look, it, if there are people out there who go after people who are married, that's not stopping nothing. You know what I mean? And if you're in a church, this ain't the club, this ain't the mall, this isn't, some stranger. Most people in the congregation know who the other people are, especially the attractive ones. They know who they are. And if you're interested in those people, you know what their family situation is. So they'll know that she's married to Cody and she has 5 kids and what her situation is. They will know who she is. And this is aside from her being on TV. So if any guys approach her, they already know about Cody. So I just want you to keep in mind with these other guys. Stop putting it on the other guys. My whole thing is it's on Robin. If Robin doesn't want to cheat, Robin won't cheat. Okay, that's how it works. It's like when I go out, it's my commitment to keep. It's not nobody else's. The women can come up to me and throw their drawers in my face. It's my job to say no, no, I can't do this.
Mhm.
That's my job. That's not they don't owe anything to me or my wife. They don't owe nothing to nobody. They can do whatever they want. It's my job to make sure that I do the right thing. And that's where Cody needs to like put responsibility on Robin, and he has to take responsibility for himself. And I'll say this too, just get your thoughts on it. If I notice that people who do the wrong thing oftentimes assume that everybody they come in contact with is doing the wrong thing. So
Yes.
the fact that you are saying that you're concerned that Robin might go there and find somebody else attractive and start trying to talk to somebody else lets me know that this is where your mind is. So
That's classic Cody. He's accusing Janelle of trying to screw him over because, and he admitted it on the show, because he's thought about screwing her over. He accuses his wife and ex-wives of doing the things that he is guilty of doing.
mhm. Yeah, so
And
cheating, yeah.
honestly, like he's thinking of Robin like honestly, I feel like he's thinking of Robin 16 years ago when she was young, a 30-year-old single mom of 3. She is the reality of Robin these days is she is a semi-famous reality star that everybody knows is married. She's I'm in her 40s now. She has 5 kids. A lot of them are growing up, going off to college. I don't think Robin's putting it out there that she's interested in a man. I think she was putting it out there that she was interested in a man back when she met Cody.
Right, right. She was stalking. But there at the same time, like even to your point, I think that she's famous for being married. Like it's different. Like she's not famous because she plays music and then all of a sudden they found out that she also has a husband. Like
Right,
you're literally famous for being married. That's what you're famous for.
right,
So like if they've ever, oh, I had no idea that she was married. You totally knew she was married. What are you talking about? Let me
right.
wrap these super chats. We got some super chats coming through. We have Victoria Perry with the $5 super chat.
Thank you, Victoria.
Jen, Jen and Brandi are cult deprogrammers at this point. Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. Heavy lifting, heavy lifting. Then we have, thank you so much, Victoria. Then we have Aunt Minnie with the 499 super chat. If Psalms believes in her religion, they would be attending the LDS. The Book of Mormon is her main scripture. I wonder if they tried and were re-elected or rejected.
Hold on one
Possibly.
second, guys. My daughter is gonna come in real quick. Hold on. She she had a school we had a little bit of a battle of wills earlier.
Oh, okay.
Hi, boo boo. Yes, you guys, she did her homework.
Awesome. Awesome. Well done. Well done.
Everyone's saying well done, Penners. I love you so much. All right. All
He's like,
right.
I'm famous.
Yeah.
Then we had Lizzie B with a $5 super chat, back from vacation, coming in strong. Robin was not a single mom. She was a divorced woman with 3 kids. There's a big difference. She chose to birth children inside of a marriage. That's true. But she was single when she was
Hmm.
ready to hook up with Cody, the Costa,
Hmm.
get a freak on, and bigger than dropping the aisle. So there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Let's give everybody a little something. Thank you so much. But yeah, so I think that like that whole thing bothers me like crazy. I'm not a big fan of it. Oh wow. Hold on, we got one more.
Yeah, I just saw
Tanya,
that one. Tanya dropping the truth bombs.
Tanya jumping in there. $2 super chat. Robin is famous for being a gold digging adulteress.
No lies detected. No lies detected.
But the problem with that is this is the whole thing. Like my lady had a whole saying I adopted every now and again, where she used to say, how you get your man is how you lose your man. And so, and my thing was always, where Cody should be nervous and where Cody should be scared. Anything, and this is what I've said since high school. If anything somebody's willing to do with you, they're willing to do to you. So if they're willing to lie with you, they're willing to cheat with you, they're willing to lie to you, and they're willing to cheat on you. So, trying to put it together, Cody should be nervous because the way they were talking, and I look, and we all know, we grown, we know that this man's driving 4 hours every damn weekend to her house one way, 4 hours one way, so that he can sit on the couch. Please, please. He's out there doing, they bumping uglies. This is me. I have no proof for it. But
No,
I
I agree.
suspect that
I
they
agree.
was down there bumping uglies, and then this technically would be considered cheating. This would technically be him stepping outside of his marriages and his commitments because they're not allowed to mess around prior to being married. So if she was down with it and she was letting it happen because they were so in love and she was getting a tingly lightning bolt in her, her bloomers, then then he knows what she's capable of and he should be scared. So yes, Tanya, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit, but
I kind
it had
of
to be
feel
said.
like maybe Cody might feel a little bit like maybe he might have a wandering eye at this new church, and this new church doesn't practice polygamy. So people will look at him like he's a real big weirdo if he's creeping
Yeah,
on single women at this church.
yeah, especially if they're younger. Like, because if he's looking at like staring at 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds in their face, and they're only a couple years older than his daughters, yeah, they're gonna have a problem with him.
Yeah.
So
And it's not lost on the sister wives community. The podcasts that I listen to that recap the show have mentioned it multiple times, and I see it in the comment section. I see it in my Facebook group. Aurora and Brianna, I think Aurora might be like 19ish here.
mhm,
But Brianna's like 21 at this point. These women they're women. They're adults
right,
having to essentially ask permission to they're not asking permission to go to a rave or to like, I don't know, they need a loan. They're not asking for money. They're asking to go
mhm,
to church.
right, right. And the fact that, and what's weird to me is like even in light of that, they're like at least Aurora, she's legitly old enough to go to a bar. Like she could go to a bar, sit down and have a tall glass of frothy goodness. And no question, like if she got carded, she could pass the card test. And even Brianna, she's right around the corner from that. And the fact that they have to ask to go to a church, and then when they get approval to go to the church, it's only on the condition that their mom can go with them. Like, what are you doing? Like, at least let them go by themselves. If you were so worried about going to services, you go to the morning service, the 8:30. Let them go to the noon service where they had the choir is in full regalia and they go on buck wild. Let them go to that one. But
Mhm.
like try and then and she's going to be like that hover mom, that what they call them, a helicopter mom, where she's just kind of hovering over top of them when the guys come over and try to talk to her. And the outrage that Robin had, I don't want them joining the church to meet some dude. I know, right? Because it'd be ridiculous if they were driving like 4 hours to go to church to meet some guy in a strange place who was married to three other women. That would be ridiculous. You know what I mean? But the fact that they're single young ladies who might be going to church to try to meet people who have like or similar values and interests to them, that's completely out of the question and uncalled for. What are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? What are we doing?
I will say my brother and my sister-in-law were like kind of sort of set up by like my mom and my sister-in-law's mom through church because we know her family through church. And I'll tell you, like, when there is nothing that would make a parent happier than bringing home a nice young whoever from the church that they approve of. That is like, mwah, signed, sealed, delivered. You're good.
Right.
I know this from experience, seeing
Right.
with my brother and sister-in-law. Like, that was just another tick for why my brother's like the golden child, you know? So to see them like Brianna or Brianna looked like she was on the verge of like a panic attack, saying like, I kind of want to meet a guy.
Right. Right.
It was so weird because like she should be dating. She's 19.
Yeah, let her get out and experiment. Well, when I say experiment, I'm not saying she got to go out and go buck wild, but at
It
least let her go out and figure out what she wants. That's 90% of what I think the problem that the OG3 had. They didn't have that opportunity to figure out what it is they like and what they want in a mate,
yeah,
and so they
and
just kind of took the first mate.
this now I get that, every not every church situation is like a wholesome situation. So I am
Hmm.
painting with a broad brush here, but it should be like a relief that your daughter is considering her dating pool to be like church people, right?
Right.
And it's not AUB church people. So they're not like hopefully not creepers. But
Hmm.
it's like she's not like, "Mom, I want to." Oh man, cuz I went to a really small high school, a small Lutheran high school, and my graduating class was 33 kids.
Hmm.
I went to Cal State Fullerton, a California state school. And when I remember my first day of college, I was like, someone has purple hair. People are wearing pajamas to class. Like, what is going on? Um, at least she's not like, I don't know, like, she's not what she could be doing and what she's actually doing. It's so wild to see these parents' reactions to
Hmm.
her wanting to date at church.
Right. Right. Well, because I also think too, like there is I agree with the point that it's a false sense of security saying that like everybody in church, because the devil's in the church too, but everybody in church is safe. But that does like just because they go to church and everybody's not safe there, they are in the world. They're in the world. So they're going to come in contact with people from all walks of life and from different places and from different circles. And if her desire is, I want to meet somebody and start relationships and get to know folks and try to find a companion in life, and I want to go to church to do it, then that gives you a good starting point because either way, the urge is the urge, and the desire is the desire, and it's going to be there. And if you're trying to cut her off from church and doing her stalking and her hunting at church, then she's going to do her stalking and her hunting wherever she can, and that could put her in a bad situation. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So I think that she's actually doing them a disservice. You have to let them experiment. Plus, there's another part of it that's really selfish because the way Cody and Robin talked about it, even before when they first started talking about sex and sexuality, it was always to the point of, well, I want my daughters to be 30 or 40 years old before they start dating. Ha 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 ha. The
Right.
crazy part is that you're with your mate. You have somebody who you're spending time with, that you're in love with, that you have a companion, like you have shared companionship with. And your position is you want to deny your child that same joy because you're uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
that's where it gets creepy for me, because it's just there to make them feel comfortable. Speaking of which, we have another super chat from Dragon Tears for Me, $5 super
Thank
chat
you.
on the date. Notice the sword comment. Cody says Then when Aurora and Brianna are doing their couch interview, they're wearing sword necklaces. I did not know
I
that or
did
notice
not
that.
either. Now I'm gonna have to go back
That
and
is crazy.
rewatch. Ew! This is like Vanderpump
Yeah,
Rules with the lightning bolt necklaces. Ew.
yeah.
It's like it was there the whole time.
Right, right. He's in the house.
Yeah.
Let me give you guys a little something, something.
Thank
Thank you so much. Appreciate Dragons Tears for Me. Excellent pickup. I'm gonna check that out. And Tanya Johnson coming through. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. But so we have the whole date thing. I was like the date, like the date thing I felt was a little weird from on its face. Because the way they did it, they were so excited. Oh, we're finally, Cody, I'm finally going to have her to myself. It was
he's
creepy.
yes,
He's like
yes.
super creepy.
And he was so like almost like manic, like so high energy. Like he was like
Right.
almost like slurping at times. And it was like, bro, like calm down, you know?
Yeah, it's the weirdness of he's trying to display how attractive his wife is by pushing it over the line. But you don't have to, like, if you're attracted to your wife, you don't have to express to us that you're attracted to your wife. I'm happy for one that you finally got around to the point where you are openly admitting that you're attracted to your damn wife. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that.
Yeah.
Because for years I've been listening to this man deny that he barely even likes Robin, and almost to the point where he pretended like he doesn't even know who the hell she is.
Yeah.
So so thank you for that. We're acknowledging that we're not idiots. We
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes.
But at the same time, the creepy part is that one, like I was thinking about the logistics of it, and even my lady when we were watching it, like because I watched it last night and then she watched it this morning, and I wanted to see what she would say about it. She said the same thing I said. You have Cody and Robin. You don't have jobs where you guys are out of the house 9 to 5 or during the day, so you're both home. You have kids who are all in school, and the kids who may have night classes, the college kids who may have night classes, they don't need you at home. So you don't have to have date night. You could have date day. You could go out to breakfast. You could go out to lunch. When your kids are in school, now is the time for you to be able to just go and enjoy a meal at the diner or whatever. It doesn't have to be a fancy restaurant if it's about the connection and the time that you're spending with each other. And
Mhm.
that was weird to me. Like, so it's everything that they do, and this is where I mean, like, it's getting kind of weird as far as like the storylines, because everything they're trying to do is just so overplayed. It
Yeah.
is so ridiculous. But what are your thoughts on that? Because like it just tripped me out. Like, why don't you just go to like, Denny's or something? I don't understand.
Well, it's funny because I spend all day with my husband. We work together. We're so I literally see him all day every day. Our
Mhm.
desks are literally like right next to each other at work. So I I agree. I absolutely agree with you. When we do want to kind of do something special, like we'll have his mom come over and watch the kids and we'll go out and do something. But yeah, it's also weird because I don't talk about like not being able to connect with my husband nearly the same way Robin does. And her kids, like Ari is what, like 7 at this point or something?
Mhm.
Like my daughter's 5. She's my oldest. Like my son is 18 months old. Like we like my kids like need our constant undivided attention. Her kids will live with that like in their rooms playing video games if they want to like watch a movie or something, just the two
Right.
of them, you know? I don't know.
No, I mean, but see, that's the weird thing too. You also don't have three, not one, not two, but three college age children who you could say, if you thought that, like, I'm not sure where Saul is as far as age wise at this point, but I'm kind of guessing he might either be an adolescent, preteen adolescent, or he might
Yeah,
already be a
he's like
teenager.
12, 13. Yeah.
Right. Right. So if he's that old, like technically he can watch himself, and it's not like they need a whole lot of supervision. They're not at the age where they need somebody sitting in the room with them all the time because, they're about to climb up on something and fall off or something. They're at that age where you could have your older children, just watch them, listen out for them. You guys can do your homework, just listen for the kids, make sure they ain't doing nothing stupid and hurting themselves or each other or burning the house down. That's basically the rules you give to teenagers.
Yes, exactly. I was told that. So yeah,
Yeah. And then you give them those rules, and you and your lady go out for an evening. And the whole thing is that you don't have to go out from like 6 o'clock at night to 4 o'clock in the morning. You can go out and just get home at a reasonable time, and they'll have the kids in bed. Everything is cool. You just give them some money for pizza, and that's it. It's not that drawn out. And the fact that they're still sitting there playing trying to play the sister wife, we have a barrier between us that we don't talk, is very disturbing. You know what I mean? Because you guys live together. You're basically, for all intents and purposes, you're a monogamous couple. So there's no reason why you guys should have to go out to a special dinner date to discuss your relationship. You know what I mean? You're together. And what time are these damn kids going to bed if you guys can't talk? like, like the
well, the
schedule
word
now,
on
your
the
kids
street
go to
with
bed, you have
that
a
is
conversation.
that these kids stay up super late and this has been a long, I don't even know if it's true or not, but a long talked about rumor that like they stay up late and they don't get their day started till like 10 or 11 a.m. Like,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, see, I was the one. Like for me, I was a big proponent of naps and bedtimes because for me, like as a parent, just my parenting style and my limitations. This is just me, maybe my weakness. But for me, I built in the naps and bedtimes wasn't just for them to give them structure, which I think is important. It was also for me because when they take a nap, that gives me a break. It gives me a chance to recharge my batteries, and I can get back in there and deal with them when they wake up. And then I can just get them to dinner, get them fed, get them bathed or washed, and then we could have like a little story time, little activity or whatever. Then I can put them down for to bed, and then I can take care of whatever business I need to take care of at a reasonable time, and then be able to go to sleep and get up in the next day and do the same thing if necessary, right? If they don't have a bedtime and you let your kids go wild, your kids don't have nothing to do. They have nothing to do. So especially before they go to school, so they can sit up till 4 o'clock in the morning just staring you in the face. Like I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'm passing out and they look at me in the face, drinking coffee, eating no-dos. Like we're not doing that.
And it's wild to me because McKelty does the same thing with her kids. Like,
Mm,
they do their watch alongs. It's like 7 for me. Well, they're in North Carolina now, but it was like I like 4 o'clock ish when I think they would stream for local time. And that was her kids' nap time because her
mm,
kids would nap and then be up till like 11 at night. And I was like, what? And then, but I got a lot
yeah,
of feedback that like some kids are just natural night owls. And so, like, really,
nocturnal,
as
right?
long as your kid's getting like 8 to 10 hours of sleep at night, like, whether that starts at, now, with that being said, when school starts and stuff, when they actually have to be up and ready to go at like 8 a.m., you need to adjust their schedules. But in it, like, to me, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, that is so like wild.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that is not the way I parent. That is not the way I grew up. Like that is shenanigans to me.
it's
But
wild time. Yeah,
I got a lot of feedback saying like, oh no, that's actually not that like crazy. Like as long as they're getting like continuous sleep, it's not bad. But
right,
yeah, I don't
right,
want to be up until 11 or 12. So
right,
the
right.
culture
Well,
in my house is that early bedtimes are cool.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because again, I'm not putting that on other parents. Like y'all do what y'all need to do. How you get through life and how you navigate life is your business. But for me, it was just easier for me to have established nap times and bedtimes because that way for me it gave not only gave them structure, but it gave me structure. It gave me things to where I knew that if I can get them to I think I put them down like at between 12 and 1 o'clock, depending on what was going on. If I get them to that time and even I put them down for an hour, 2 hours, that would be an hour, 2 hours that I could do something else. If it's just me sitting down, hell, depending on what's going on, you might need that hour, 2 hours so you can go sit in the car and just scream your ass off and cry. You know what I mean? Depending on what's happening. But that was just, for me, that was just a decompression time that I could take and be able to recharge my battery so that I could effectively deal with them on at where they are, as opposed to me just trying to constantly be on the run and on the go and being basically a slave to when they want to go to sleep and when they get tired or when they pass out or they run out of steam. So that was just the way I did it. You know, you got to get through life in your time how you get through your time. That's just me.
Well, and I think it was in like season 14 or 15. It was right when they first got to Flagstaff and Robin, it was like the dark spirit baby conversation where she was like unsure if she was done having kids and she wanted to talk to Cody about where he stood. And he was hesitant about having more kids because I think Ari was still sleeping with them at night.
Right,
And
right,
I think she was
right.
like at least 5 at that time.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
And
But you
again,
know,
like I tread lightly, ragging on anyone's parenting. That's like a touchy subject. So I'm like, do what you gotta do to survive. Really, that's how I parent. Do how you
right,
gotta do to
right.
survive. But yeah, Cody, I wouldn't want to have another kid either if my 5-year-old was still sleeping with me every night.
Hey, how we gonna make another one?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, we haven't offloaded this one yet. But again, I think that all this comes down to like just observation of it. It's just like the same way if you were on a plane and the guy tell you like if the plane goes into distress, the mask is going to come down. Put
Mhm.
your mask on first, then put on your child's mask because you have to make sure that you're okay so that you can make sure they're okay. And for me, that's part of the reason why the bedtimes are so important because it's about self care. I got to make sure that I'm okay so that I can make sure they're okay. And
That's
if
an
I'm
excellent
sitting around, and I'm serving them and just doing what they want to do, and I'm not taking care of myself, then I'm gonna like at some later point, I'm gonna drop the ball, and that puts them in a bad situation. That's why I kind of approach it that way.
mhm.
But
I think
again, I'm
that's
like
an
you.
excellent point.
Yeah, people are built different. People might be built better than me. Some people are built for war. Like they can do all day, kids, 4, 5 of them jumping on their back, 3 of them, they're playing in the sink. You know what I mean? They can do all that and never lose their cool ones. You know what I
And
mean?
it's
Get
like, you
guys
know what?
out.
I am not stay-at-home mom material. Actually, I have a brother and I have 2 male cousins. All three, the wives are stay-at-home moms. Not my jam. I have an
Mhm.
endless amount of respect for the child caregivers at my kids' school because I would go insane. I would go insane.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, there's a difference too, because there's patience that's involved with you taking care of your kids, but there's an absurd level of patience that's involved with taking care of somebody else's children.
Yeah.
So I give them hats off. If you work with children, hats off to you because that's the
Take
Lord's work.
take all of my money. Like,
Right.
I only wish more of it went to the actual employee, but it gets like everyone gets their hand in it first before it actually gets
Yeah.
to that's a whole nother discussion
Yeah. Yeah.
we can have,
Yeah.
but
Half of them getting ripped off, working minimum wage, doing all the work. Yeah.
yeah.
But we got a super chat.
Thank you.
JT Pittman with the $5 super chat. There is no show week. If not, Could you please discuss the failure of the production company Puddle Monkey? They are doing too much and not enough. Wow. Okay. I think that might be a good conversation to have. But we're actually taking off next week. Thank you for the super chat. But we will be off next week. We'll be back the following week. But I think that that's certainly a topic that, especially as the season draws to an end, that we certainly should address that because then we'll have a better understanding of where the season went, as well as and I want to pull in some of the other productions that TLC is airing on their network, like 90 Day Fiance and a lot of the failures that I see in those shows, because I think that they share a lot of the same shortcomings in their productions. So I think that like I want to be able to give a full throated response to that. But thank you so much for the idea. Did you have anything you want to say on that, Sarah?
Well, just in regards to like 90 Day Fiance, my whole social media presence started with 90 Day Fiance and Love After
Yeah, me
Lockup.
too. Yeah, me too.
Um, it's actually sad to me. I have not watched 90 Day Fiance with any kind of regularity in over a year. And
Mhm.
that was like I actually, when I was like just graduated college, I heard of this show Sister Wives. I watched it here and there. I wasn't diehard in the community or anything. Then the catfish situation happened. I was like, oh, that's wild. And I kind of got back. I would like tiptoe in and out of the fandom. And then it was
Mhm.
when I got super into 90 Day Fiance, I got back into and super into Sister Wives. And I feel like Sister Wives kind of took off, and 90 Day Fiance, yeah, they're just making really questionable like production decisions.
Right, right. Yeah, they're talking about bringing not to go on too much of a
Yeah.
tangent, but they're talking about bringing Angela Dean. She wants to come back, and
And
so
that is to me, that's just a middle finger to your audience.
right, yeah,
And
completely
that's like
unacceptable.
when JT Pittman says they're doing too much and not enough. I feel like us as a Sister Wives audience, some of these episodes feel like a middle finger to us because it's like
Mm,
you gave us nothing.
right,
You want
right.
us to tune in every week. You're not being honest. We're getting 2-year-old stale regurgitations of storylines. We're getting clearly reshot arguments. I'm not even sure if like an authentic argument ever happened in the first place, but with that like snow fight out, not like
Mm,
throwing snowballs, but like Cody and Robin having that argument outside that was clearly reproduced from
right.
whatever. So it's like Cody certainly, because he constantly denies um literal events or things we have witnessed on the show. I never prioritized Robin, as if we
Right.
haven't watched his life unfold for 15 years. Cody certainly gives the viewers the middle finger for sure.
Right, right. Well, because even with that one comment, like I've never prioritized Robin. Whereas last week when he was standing outside with his brothers outside the fence, stalking out the old houses, he said that I'm so happy that I can be with Robin now because now I can just focus on her and I don't have to worry about those other ones. So you're focused on Robin because you prioritized her. Like, what are you talking? Like, you can't have it both ways. So I think that, and even the argument, I think that that's 90% of the problem of what we're seeing. Too much of their content at this point, I think, is being self produced, where they're trying to create their own image on the show. And by them doing it, they're doing it ham fisted, where there's no subtleties in what they're trying to do. Like Cody, instead of like creating scenarios, the situation where Robin can do the right thing, he's more than okay and more than willing to just sit on the couch and say, Robin's a good person, she does the right thing always. And therefore you guys should believe it. But there's no examples or anything that you can point to say to illustrate what she's talking about. Even when she sat there and talked about Mary's mom, and we could even discuss that a little bit. like Mary's mom, she passed away. Oh, but before we get too far afield, JT Pittman, I want to give you a big shout out. Thank you so much for the super chat and the great idea. Let me give you a little something, something if I can find my mouse. But yeah, so we have the whole thing with Mary's mom losing her mom. Like I thought that that was like a really important story that Mary shared in talking about her relationship with Robin and where that relationship uh really takes a turn. I think for her,
Like that
and
was
that's
some
where
tea. That was some tea spilled that
right.
Mary was hurt by
Mhm.
Robin's absence.
Right, as well she should have been. Because like the I think at the time when Mary's mom had passed, they sat there and said, well, we didn't want to do it because we couldn't do the 2 week quarantine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lady, did you think you were the only ones? Because I know you like to pretend that you guys are the only ones who understand certain situations and circumstances because of the way you live. I'm the only one who understands polygamy. We all went through the panorama, okay? And what I do remember of the time when Mary's mom had passed away and she was having a funeral, you could have went to the funeral. You know why? Because they had the rapid response test available where you could have went down, you could have went to the funeral, and you could have came back and you could have took a test to find out if you were where you were as far as your suitability to go home. And if you needed to take a couple of days, aren't you the one with the nanny? Aren't you the one again? You're the one who has three kids who are college age. You could be out of the house and leave your two youngest children to be watched by three kids. Technically, let's be honest. These three kids, Aurora, she's the same age as the OG3 when they started having children. You know what I mean? They were having their own children around their ages. So you're saying that they're all of a sudden too good to watch your kids? But what about McKelty when she was watching your babies? You weren't concerned about child labor then. Now all of a sudden you worried about somebody watching your damn kids and putting too much pressure on your children. Like, come on, you didn't go to the funeral because you didn't want to go to the funeral. And I think that that's something that Mary, I think, she came right up to the line where she basically said that that's what it was with Robin. What do you think about that? Because I thought that was that was sad to watch, but it was a deep moment.
I mean, I think that we are going to start seeing more of these conversations about the hurt that these each individual feels based off of actions by the others. Because in the episode, in the next time on, Robin is talking about how she's always been treated like crap by everybody.
Right,
So I
right,
think
right,
that that's going to start becoming a thing that these adults are going to start cluing us into what like the real deal, right?
right,
Like
right,
3 years ago, Mary would have never brought up
right, right.
Robin missing her mother's funeral.
Mhm.
That would have never been known.
Right, right. And I think maybe even late as 3 years, like maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Like up until the time, she never would have said nothing. Like she even when she was defending Cody, like she was defending Cody and Robin. But the reality of it is I think that, with her allowing her friends to criticize Cody was like kind of over the line for Cody, and he's ready to declare war. But her criticizing Robin and talking bad about Robin, oh yeah, Cody's gonna start coming for Mary. Like the gauntlet has been thrown.
I mean, Mary
So
did call him a dumbass this
right,
week,
right,
and I loved that.
yeah. Well, because it's just so like even that like the whole story like with the dumbass comment, that whole story was ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
but essentially for those who didn't have an opportunity to see it, Mary, Jen, and Brandi were reflecting on when Robin, Cody, and Mary were on Cloudy Pass, and they were having a conversation about Mary leaving and officially breaking up with Cody. And Robin, she started crying and she gets up sobbing. I'm sorry. I want to support you guys, but I can't. And she runs around the corner, around the truck, right? And then Cody, when he comes to our house, I guess the scene that we see this season, when he comes over to our house and basically says, I never should have married you. That whole conversation, he says that he felt bad because Robin never should have been there, and he, poor girl, because she was so hurt.
I know.
What the fuck? Like, it's so
And this
crazy.
is
That was
why
a crazy show.
I'm loving Jen, I'm loving Brandi, because they're pointing out to Meri how truly fucked this situation is.
Right,
Like
right. He broke up with you.
even the scenarios that don't seem that bad. Like Cody's over talking about the end of an era and why did Meri move on so fast? Meri is taking all of those as like, ooh, maybe he's still into me. But Jen's like, nah, girl. He is literally saying, oh man, that was really tough on Robin.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Well, the one who didn't get broke up with, the one who still has a husband. It was hard on her. She can't believe it, and that's just that. I think that's the chef's kiss. And when he says, at the same time, we put that in the context of him saying, "I never favored Robin." What's that? What was that again? Could you say that one more time? Put your face in the microphone and say it with your chest. Like
Yeah.
what?
Like Cody
Oh, yeah.
clearly thinks that Sister Wives fans are a bunch of idiots, that we will just
Right.
believe anything he says. And maybe at one point I think for the first 4 seasons, I probably did believe the things he said. But
Mm,
then it started to become so obvious.
right.
And one of the things that I found really interesting is when they were all talking about, I think Christine said it's hard to know what everybody thinks of you. And kind
Mm,
of alluding to the fact that this show is really not great for their relationships.
right.
That
Right.
the show may be a leading factor in why a lot of the family has fractured dynamics.
Mm. Yeah, it's just terrible. Like it's not good for anybody. Well, no, it's give and go because the any reality show will ruin a relationship because they won't like if you had something to say like if it was you and your husband, you guys were doing a reality show, and you had a disagreement, they're not going to air the soft moments of your confessional where you say, I really love my husband, and this is just a hard time that we're having, and we're having a disagreement. They're going to intentionally air the hot moments where you're like, F this dude, what the F is wrong with him? It's stupid ass, blah, 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 blah. And all that venom will be what they show on TV. And for him, the same thing. When he does his interview, I really love Sarah when I met her,
Mhm.
my heart melted, da, da, da. They're not going to air none of that. None of that's never going to see the light of day. It's
Right.
going to be all nastiness. And
Mhm.
that's what they're going to put out. And that's why so many relationships, especially in these reality the sphere of reality TV fall apart because you hear nothing but because let's be honest, the tenderness isn't drama, and the drama, if it's wholesome, it doesn't sell.
Mhm.
So you have a hard way to go. So it does make sense that yeah, maybe Robin didn't say it this particular way. Maybe Cody did say it a little softer, and maybe the producers kind of egged them on to say, yeah, what do you really think about him? Or they know how. Like by now, a lot of these producers have been around with him so long, and he's so fragile that they know what buttons to push to get him going. You know what I mean? Not saying that I'm excusing what he says, because at the end of the day, he did say it. Like that's part of the problem too, is that you can't get around the fact that you did say the stuff that they heard you say.
Mhm.
It was taken out of context, but you said it.
Right. Like the
You
whole
know what I mean?
patriarchy thing, like, bro, you said it. You made
Right,
it your whole identity for an entire season.
right. You gave a whole speech about it. Three of them. You gave like three, four speeches about
Yeah.
patriarchy and why it's not wrong and why he's the leader. And even before that, he was saying that out when he was meeting with his friend Brett in Las Vegas. and he was talking to Brett and the trainer guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me tell you, when it was time to move, you know what I did? I didn't ask Janelle nothing. I led because I'm the leader. You know, that was basically patriarchy. You just weren't using the word at the time.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so this is what you thought.
Yep.
It is what it is. But we have super chat. Let's get the super chat in. Amon Avis with the 4.99 super chat.
You.
Do you think when they do the tell all, they will finally ask Cody the tough questions that they didn't last season? Maybe James and Sarah can host. We can both host TLC if you guys
We
want
are
us to come
available.
on.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are available. And
Yes.
I will make room in my bank account for them TLC checks. I will do that for you.
Well, if they don't pay like McKelty for giving birth, I think we
Yeah,
might
right.
we might earn ourselves like an Applebee's gift card. I don't know.
Right,
I'm not
exactly.
holding out for a big payday, but I definitely volunteer for tribute. That's for sure.
Right, right. Well, I'll
But
tell you what, they might not pay you just on the sheer fact that if you make Cody or Robin leave during the course of the interview, which is highly likely, if you press them too hard on anything that they've said or they've done. Like that's just the truth of it. You know, like they won't sit for a real interview. Like I don't think they'll do it.
that's why and I do not envy Suki because I feel like she's in like a lose-lose
Mhm,
situation. I think that she is heavily constrained. So several years ago, during COVID, when they did a virtual tell-all, it was for 90 Day Fiance. It was the season that Erica with the like rainbow fun colored hair was on. Whatever that
mhm.
season was, it got the like raw footage got leaked. And part of what we learned when all of that leaked was that there was like a producer in Sean Robinson's ear, like constantly directing her, telling her what to do, telling her what to say. And Sean Robinson really, from what we come to find out, had very little control over and this is why like Angela Deem keeps coming back. I'm sure the last thing Sean Robinson wants to do is have to sit and have a conversation with Angela, like another one,
Right,
you know?
right.
But she is so heavily constrained. I have a feeling that Suki is too. I think she really does have to tiptoe, especially around Cody, what he
Mhm.
is willing to talk about.
Right, right. Well, because I think that that's one of the things with this particular show, especially the way they produce it. Um, Cody, and this is the sad part about it. I think they have Cody to the point where he thinks that he's legitly famous, and
Yeah.
so he has a lot more power over the production team that he actually has. So even when, like, there was the one thing that they did air when Cody when season 17, where Suki had asked about Robin and Cody's relationship with Robin, and Cody looked at his wristwatch, and he did this whole thing, and she's like, "What? Do we have time?" He's like, "I don't know, maybe."
Yeah.
Like the way he dismissed her. Like, so I agree with the fact that like Suki, she gets a hard way to go, but she's kind of tap dancing in a minefield because if she makes the wrong move or she says the wrong thing, Cody will get up and walk out and try to get her fired. You know, so I do think that. I do think that
Yeah.
that's part of the problem.
I also think that Cody doesn't afford Suki the respect she deserves because she's a woman.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's part of it too.
I think he'll straight up like when he what when she when she said that he abandoned his wives and kids and he flipped out and was like, "Take that back." I do not think he would react that way had a man said that to him.
Right, right. Take that back. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I say it when I say it. What are you gonna do to
Yeah.
me? You're gonna be upset. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna cry. You know. But yeah, let me give Iman Avis a
Thank
little
you.
something, something. Thank you. All right, all right. But yeah, I agree. I agree. It's such a weird thing, but I do think that if they have to balance it out with Cody. the problem is with men. Like I watched Cody do the interviews with Suki, and he has one perspective where he tries to dominate. But when he does the interviews with the guys, he'll typically try to ingratiate himself. So either he's trying to dominate or he'll ingratiate. He'll sit there and try to be their friend. He'll sit there and try to joke with them, try to make it more of an even plane, like we're having a peer-to-peer conversation. And then that's when he really goes on like the big idea tangents about how men think and you know how men are. You know, we're all guys and that kind of thing. Like he's very big on the locker room talk
Yes.
form of expression. You know, like oh, we just guys sitting around talking in our jock straps because that's what men do. Like
Yeah.
no, like I'll be damned if I sit around half naked with a man. Like it's just not my cup of tea, bro. But you roll how you roll. That's your thing. That's your thing. Um, there. Yeah, so we had that whole thing, and I think like overall, what were your take? What was your take? Because we got to round it up a little bit. But what was your take on the entire episode? Do you think that like the next episode? Because we get a little teaser about the next episode, like you said, with Robin sitting there. You know, I was mistreated and everybody was so mean to me, and oh my god, I was fooled. You know, being a victim, pro victim, and then of course you have the ladies going out to the new church together with the
Mhm.
girls dressed up.
I
So
think
what are
that
your
this
thoughts on that?
is I think that this is the calm before the storm. I think we are rapidly approaching the event, that we know is going
Hmm.
to culminate this season. And from how everybody talks about how the family dynamic is now, I think that next season, because we know that they're filming, I think it's going to be like a complete shit show with people just really spouting off how they really feel about Cody.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's rounding out because I was talking to my lady about it earlier, and she was like, "Well, I don't know where they're gonna go," and I'm like, "What it is I think and I could be wrong with TLC. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I'm imagining like the production if like a normal production team was running it, you might have like the slower part to get us caught up with the filler sections like they did in this first part.
Mhm.
And for the second half of like this big season, because it's going to be a big season, it's going to be like a roller coaster. So like it'll be a little slow going up, but once it hits that apex, it's going to take off like a freight train. You know, and I think that hopefully, well, maybe not hopefully, because that would be bad stuff is happening, but I think that will be more of it. Like the second half, I think is going to be more the interesting part of this season. You know.
Right, because it's we know that this major event is coming that is going to
Mhm.
shake this whole family to its core. The thing that is heartwarming in a sense is that we know that the Christine has a tree planted in her yard in honor of
Mhm.
Garrison. The siblings are closer than ever. Um, that hasn't changed. The
Right.
sad thing and what is going to make for people tuning into the show is the fact that absolutely nothing has altered Cody's course in life and how
Right.
he and I've said it a billion times on my channel. If this event doesn't fundamentally change who Cody is as a person and how he approaches relationships, especially with his children, he is a lost cause. Cody is a
Right.
lost soul, in my opinion. And really, the way I view him now is just almost like a case study on a personality disorder.
Hmm. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the kind of thing that the sad part is that this might not be the thing to shake him because he wasn't that close to Big G's and the OG 13 before. So if this sets up something later down the line where it affects kids who are closer to him, maybe that would have a different effect. But the shame of it is that you don't find value. or you don't feel that same sense of loss for a child that you had. You know what I mean? Like that I think is that's heartbreaking. But like you said, I do think that there is parts of it where even when Janelle, kind of to tag on to what you said, where Janelle was saying that after Big G's passed away, she when she contacts her kids or she talks to her kids, she really takes time out to really connect with them to make sure that they're okay. And she doesn't do the one word like, "How you doing? I'm fine." Like, are you fine? Or are you saying you're fine? Like, is everything okay? What's happening? And they're really getting involved. And this is a big part. They're really getting involved with one another's lives. It's
Mhm.
not just a thing where I know I got a brother or a sister, but they're really trying to be active and present for each other. And I think that that's very important because
Yes.
it's so easy, especially, looking at the time of year that it is. It's so easy because everybody gets busy where you just, I'll call that person later or I'll deal with them later. But, sometimes there's not a later. And
Right.
so, you know, it's important to make those kind of connections. So, I mean, from that respect, I think it's important. And we might find out, like, I heard some terrible things as to why like what happened at the funeral. And I hope it's not true. The only reason I'm not like spouting it out now because I don't have any validity for it. Like it's kind of hearsay through the grapevine. But yeah, if it's right, it's terrible.
Well,
And
being that the show, when they put out the trailer for, or like the little like press blurb, included Garrison as a talking point for season 19, we know at least his death will be addressed on the show.
mm,
I can't imagine next season will be anything but the fallout, you know?
right,
And
right,
it's not going to go good for Cody and Robin. You would think
no,
and what I had really truly hoped, honestly, for a redemption arc for Cody and
right,
Robin, that we would see Cody being photographed out and about with his kids, with Hunter, with Logan, with Gabe, with Peyton, with all of these kids that have begged to have a relationship with him. I really
mm,
thought like we're gonna the future seasons of Sister Wives is going to be Cody rebuilding his relationships. And it makes me sad that we're not gonna see that.
right, right. Well, I mean, I think that that's where I was with the like when I said earlier, I was giving them a little bit of credit. Like that's the for me, I think that's the first step. Like you have to recognize, like above everything else, you have to recognize that you did something wrong, that you made a mistake, that things that happened were your fault. And the reason why you don't have a relationship with your kids isn't because your kids are a bunch of jerks and assholes. It's because you weren't showing them the kindness and compassion to make them want to have a relationship with you or trust you for that intimate relationship between like father and children. Like that's why you don't have a relationship. And if until he recognizes that, then like kind of what little Gabe said, Gabe was saying when Cody called him up was like, "Yeah, I forgive you. Can you forgive me too?" Like what I need forgiveness for?
Right.
It's that point. Like you can't try to push. We both messed up. No, you have to say I messed up. And from Cody's perspective, he messed up bad enough to where even if the kids exacerbated the problem or added to the problem, put fuel on the fire, irrelevant. You messed up enough to where you just take responsibility for your end of it. Like, forget what they did or how they did it. This is where I messed up, and I'm sorry for my part. And if they apologize, great. If they don't, great. You just apologize for what you did. And that's the weird part about it, too. You can't, like, it's not much of an apology if I apologize and I expect my apology is conditional on your apology. Then that's not really an apology, is it? You know
No.
what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Especially if the other person didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Like, which is why I'm so glad that Gabe talked about getting mental health help, because I think that
Mm,
that has to be something that he probably discussed with the therapist. Like, I have a feeling his therapist pointed out, you did nothing wrong. You have
right,
nothing to apologize for. And I think that that was a very healthy thing for Gabe to assert with Cody, is like, forgive. What am I being forgiven for? What did I
right,
do?
right. There is, I don't even get it. Like, well, I want to apologize because again, I think that it just came down to like in most of these instances. That's why I said it was like a difference for Cody to actually acknowledge that he did something wrong. Because in most of these instances, he refuses to acknowledge that he did anything wrong. And if he did do something wrong, he did something wrong because you were doing something wrong too. So we were both wrong together. So it kind of evens itself out. So technically, I'm still not really wrong. You know what I mean? Because you, me being wrong and you being wrong together, we kind of cancel each other out. So neither one of us is wrong, right? So
Mhm.
I'm right. And I think that's like the mind game that he plays. It's a little twisted. But let me get this last super chat in. So we got a super chat.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Is Stacy Johnson in the house before 99 Super Chat? You two are the best. Listening
Well,
to you recap while working. Thank you. That's an awesome way to do it. Appreciate you. Hopefully everybody hits the like. Don't forget to hit the like while you're listening. Uh, I want to tell all where they all have to sit together and answer questions. Yeah, that would. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
That would
I
be the
don't know.
dream.
Yeah. I want them to not only sit and answer questions, but I want them to actually engage with one another.
Yeah.
Like, and if necessary, confront each other with some of the things that are being said or some of the falsehoods which are being propagated. Don't, because they're in a position now where I don't think any of the women are going to sit around and let either Cody or Robin kind of run over them with the, using the whole cloak of charity argument that you guys can't say anything bad about me. So I'm going to run over you with an excuse as to why whatever I did wrong to you was okay, and you guys are just gonna sit there and nod your head like, yeah, he's a brilliant guy, he's smart. So I think that now it might be the time for them to actually do it because I think it would be a confrontation.
Yeah, I agree.
But so what do you have coming up? What should we be looking forward to as far as your upcoming videos?
I'll have videos coming out maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. I'll just have to see how work goes.
Things
I'm
shake out.
kind of wrapping things up for the year at my day job. So a little bit busy right now, but definitely gonna I have so many thoughts on this episode, and I really need to go in on this dynamic between Aurora, Brianna, and Cody. It's just so off-putting.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah. What do
that
you
was
have coming
crazy.
out?
Well, I want to do a video on specifically. I want to talk about like the whole religious aspect from Cody, and I want to talk about like the dynamic between like Mary and her friends and how they were having that conversation, how
Yeah.
it reflects on Cody and the way he pursued the relationship. So I have a few videos coming out this week, so make sure you check those out. Um, Guys, I want to make sure that we give a huge shout out to everybody in the chat, everybody who participated, keeping everything super cool, crispy, and clean and fun. We appreciate that, especially going into the holiday season. We also want to acknowledge BCAT K, Tiffany,
Mhm.
what is it, Tiffany H,
Yes.
Lizzie B. I
Yeah.
saw Brittany, not Brittany here. Did I miss anybody? Any of the mods? Did I miss any of the mods?
I'm not sure. I think maybe Kendra was here. Um,
Okay.
but yes,
Kendra, well,
Kat, Tiffany, Lizzie, Brittany, all holding it down.
yeah, yep, hold it down for us. I'll give Carmel Cuties a shout out because she's usually one of my moderators. I don't know if she was here today, but I want to make sure if she was, I give her a salute and
Yeah.
thank you guys for holding us down. We'll give everybody a big round of applause. Thank you guys so much. All right, make sure you guys take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic holiday, Christmas,
Yes.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Just tell the
Happy
whole
holidays.
fam, yeah, making sure you taking care of yourself. Now is the season for giving. So if you guys are in the mood, one of the things that we talked about on the channel, on one of my lives, is if you want to donate to like homeless shelters, now would be a great time to do it. There's an easy way for you to do it. Things that you can think about or consider giving. You can order like little headphones, like the little iPods for people who are out on the street. Sometimes those little things mean a lot. A lot of homeless shelters look for simple things like undergarments, such as underwear, socks. Huge deal. Get socks, 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 socks. Because
Yes.
they're always looking for socks and things like that to keep folks warm and keep them safe. So just something to think about if you guys are in a given mood. That'll take care of your fellow man. Make sure you take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. We look forward to seeing you not next week, but week after next, because we're going to take next week off from Sister Lives, but we will have our videos dropping. So make sure you look for those. And please, by the way, hit that like button on your way out. You know you want to. You know you want to.
And
Did you have anything else?
Teresa has some last minute super chats. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Teresa. Thank you, everybody. Truly. You guys mean the
Yeah.
world to us.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Teresa Skinner dropping the super sticker with the 1999 super sticker. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You dropped two, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a double of pleasure as far as thank you. I appreciate you because you are wonderful. Teresa Skinner, one of the big supporters. I appreciate you. She's always been around helping us out, looking out for us, putting comments in the section, being very positive. We got a bunch of people that I saw you guys, Melody, all you guys, Karen,
Mhm.
Kathy, Ferran. There's so many people. We appreciate everybody. We really appreciate you guys, keeping the chat respectable and fun because YouTube should be fun. So I
Yes.
appreciate you guys. But let me give Teresa Skin a little awesomeness. But did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Just I hope everyone has a happy and safe holiday. We will see you right before we go into 2025. I cannot believe that we are at the
Yeah.
end of the year. It's truly wild.
Yeah, it went fast, y'all. It went fast.
It
Hey,
really
speaking, yeah, exactly. Speaking of going fast, like I said, make sure that you cut some time out of your busy schedules. I know everybody's busy because it's that time of year, but make sure you reach out and talk to the people that you care about because nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. We all made it through this year, but who knows what's going to happen next year? So make sure you take care of the people who are taking care of you. So
yes.
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Have a great night. And we are out.
Bye.